Hi everyone, it is Donna. I'm going to get on my little fancy chair here, and welcome to Advanced Beginner 2 series. All right, and in this series what I hope to show you is a little trick using your knowledge of chord shapes. First of all, pointing out several chord shapes that will help you to know how to play chords that appear in music, and you just don't want to really look up the chord diagram. You might not have to if you understand a little simple trick. And I'm going to ask you to please remember the pattern for the major scale. All right, it is, again, all right, this is the distance between each 2 degrees of the scale. If you're talking about degrees, okay, do and re are the first 2 degrees of do, re, mi, which is the C major scale. Okay, and my dog is not happy no matter where he goes. All right, so when I say a whole step is the distance between do and re, that means it's not do and it's not re, it's the distance between the two. And if you'll remember, a whole step is 2 frets on the guitar, and a half of a step is 1 fret on the guitar. So remembering that, okay, the pattern is this, okay, and it's great to know: whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. All right, and we can play the C major scale picking up on any note, all right, using our open strings. So I can play the C major scale. Duke, off you go. Hey, I can play the C major scale on my open E string, all right? Because I have to remember this too. The distance in the C major scale only between E and F is 1/2 step, 1 fret. And the distance between B and C is 1/2 step, 1 fret. Okay, the distance between everything else is 2 frets or 1 whole step. And so I can pick up in the do, re, mi, C major scale on the 3rd degree, which is C, D, E, do, re, mi. So E is mi. All right, so if you remember the pattern, so anytime, even if you only remember that the distance between E and F is 1/2 step, and the distance between B and C is 1/2 step, everything else is a whole step. All right, so let's just kind of quickly go over that real quickly. E, F, that's all in the C major scale, okay? I'm not playing the E major scale right now. I'm playing the C major scale, picking up on the 3rd degree, picking up on E. Dude, please go lie in your bed so I don't keep hearing that clicking. Thank you. Go on. Good job. Nope, nope, you're not leading me out of this room. So this is E, and then it's F is 1/2 step, G is a whole step, A, whole step, B, whole step, C, half step, D, whole step, E, whole step again. So I can play the C major scale picking up on any of these strings, okay? So I can use my open A string. So again, all I have to remember is the distance in the C major scale between B and C is a 1/2 step, between E and F is a 1/2 step. So this is A, B, I'm on the 5th string, C, between B and C is a 1/2 step, then D is a whole step, E is a whole step, F is a 1/2 step, remember that, from E to F, G, whole step, A, oh, we're back to A again, all right? I could keep going, B, C, it goes right up, it follows that same pattern. So keeping that in mind, all right, now let's talk about chord shapes, okay? So I want to start with, and get to recognize your chord shapes. They repeat throughout many different chords, and they bring you to bar chords. Don't be afraid of bar chords. They they do take patience and practice, and they require you to give yourself some grace and not expect perfection right up front. Okay, so the first shape I want to talk about is the shape that I call it is the chord of E major, or just E, the open E chord. That is a shape, okay? And if you think of connecting the dots, all right, let me tell you where my fingers are. My index finger is on the 3rd string, 1st fret. My ring finger, I'm going to skip over it. My ring finger is on the 4th string, 2nd fret. My middle finger is on the 5th string, 2nd fret. So my middle and ring finger sit side by side on the 5th and 4th string. My index finger goes to the very next string, which is the open G string, but it happens to go on the 1st fret, which is G sharp, okay? And in the key of E major, there is a G sharp, all right? But don't worry about that right now. This is a chord shape, all right? And let's say you're playing a song, and you're like, oh, okay, well, now it says to play a bar G chord. Okay, well, I know that the E major chord is, I'm going to here, okay, E, all right, so I'm going to my open E string, and I'm going to my knowledge of the C major scale starting on the 3rd degree, or E, F, G. All right, so I know this shape, but now it says for me to play a bar F, okay? And I mean, most of you will know what a bar F is because you probably avoided it like the plague. All right, so I just want to show you what knowing this shape can do. Go right up the guitar neck. So E, F, G, A, B, C. Oh wait, I thought C was here. It's there too, okay? But it's also here. There are many different voicings or positions that you can play any chord in, okay? So you can play just a regular C chord, or you can play it up here. And it looks just like a bar F, except it's on the E string, where in the C major scale where the C would fall, okay? So let me talk a little bit about bar chords. Bar chords, this becomes a pseudo capo. All right, so I'm playing my E major scale, my E major open chord, all right? And now I want to play F, and I know E in the C major scale between E and F is 1 fret. So here's where my F is. So instead of starting with my E in the open E chord, E major chord, I want to start with F. But this becomes a pseudo capo. So, and I'm going to overlap it on the neck of the guitar a little bit, and my thumb, if you can see it, my thumb knuckle, this one right here, is going to go right behind, in my case, the 2nd knuckle on my index finger, as it pretends it's a capo. Now, my middle, ring, and pinky have to take the place of my index, middle, and ring finger, because my index finger just got a new job, okay? So now my ring finger, let's forget about, okay, let's still talk about this in terms of we just capoed the 1st fret, which means we basically cut off the guitar at that 1st fret, okay? So, or wherever the capo happens to be, all right? So my middle finger is now going to be on the 3rd string, 1st fret under the capo. My ring finger is on the 5th string, 2nd fret under the capo, and my pinky is on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, sorry, my pinky is on the 4th string, 2nd fret under the capo. So I'm playing E. If I could play the E major like this and leave this free, I could do that, right? And then just go to here and lay down my index finger. But most people play their E chord like this. But okay, if let's say you don't want to, there's a reason why it's good to play the open E like this, but let's just, for the ease of understanding this, let's play the open E chord, E major, with these 3 fingers right here, okay? So middle finger would be on the 3rd string, 1st fret, ring and pinky side by side on the 5th and 4th strings, 2nd fret. All right, now you want to play F. So I know that E major is going to start with an open E, okay? The name of the chord tells me that, E major, E. All right, now I want to play F. And I know that F is right here, okay? So my bar F looks like this from behind, okay? And this here, and I tuck my elbow into my ribs. I don't try to, flatten a walnut or anything, but I want to keep it close, okay? And this, again, be patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself. This doesn't come overnight, and don't try to press so hard. It's okay. Let it muffle. Just get the feel of where your fingers belong, okay? Get the feel of it. And then as you get more and more comfortable with it, a little bit more pressure, and just play around with the position just a little bit until you start to get more of a clear thing. But don't hold it. Don't hold it down forever. Loosen it. Go tight again. Same way you learned all your other chords, or I hope if you followed that practice routine. All right, so do that. And don't forget, you always want to warm up. So that's F, bar F. Where's bar G? Well, there's F. Where's G? Here. There's a G. That's a new way to play G. You play it like this. Here's a new way. G. Where's A? How do you play A? All right. Here's a new place to play A on the 5th fret. Where's B? Oh, I hate the B. I hate the bar B. Oh, I hate bar B. I'll explain why later, okay? But this is how I prefer to play B. You can hear I'm missing something. All right. That's way easier for me than the other bar B way. Bar B, not bar B chord. Okay, there's bar B. And then there's, remember, bar C is from B to C is a half a step, remember? So it's 1 fret. Same chord, different voicing, different position, okay? So here it is. It's hard for me to do. All right, sometimes you have to do that. And then I can go to D if I want. Sorry. And I don't really want to play E up here because this is not a cutaway. And besides, E sounds great like that. So anyway, so now you can use that knowledge with understanding this shape and understanding open E major chord, often referred to as just E. All right? You can hear it in the name, E. So go to the E string and play the C major scale starting with E, which is C, D, E, the 3rd degree of the C major scale. F, G, A, B, C, C, D. All right. You'll hear how they same. How can they sound the same when they're in completely different finger positions in a completely different place? Because remember, every chord is defined as this. It must contain the first, third, and fifth degree of the chord name. Okay? So the C chord must contain C, E, and G. Okay? 1, 3, and 5. Those 3 things are required to call it a chord. So just because you're up here, you still have those same notes. All right? It's just a different voicing. It's a chord inversion. So you're taking 1, 3, and 5, and you might be mixing it up to 5, 1, and 3, or 3, 1, and 5, or 5, 3, 1. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. It's like shuffle the cards. As long as you get those 3, it's still the same chord. That's how it can. That's how you can hear the same chord sound, playing it in a whole different place on the guitar neck. Okay, so I'm going to end this right there. That is the shape of open E. All right, and again, your index finger becomes a capo. It will do this for all of these chords. You will be amazed at how often you will say, oh, what's this chord in this song? I don't know what this chord is, and I don't really feel like looking it up or opening my other app. But if you know this technique, you can figure it out, because the shapes repeat in different positions on the neck of the guitar, and they form new chords, okay, based on that C major scale pattern. So it's kind of cool. We're going to go over another chord shape in just a minute. All right. So thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning back in. Again, this is the first lesson in the Advanced Beginner 2 series. I'm just going to focus on chord shapes and learning new chords. Okay, take care. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.